episode of Post-Fades Cheesesteaks, episode 96, I think.
Sounds about right.
That sounds about right. A lot of big news this weekend. First of all, we had the obvious championship, AFC and NFC Championship games, shocking the world. The Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burr.
Nuts. That's one of those teams that I thought I was going to die before I saw in a Super Bowl. Like them, the Browns, the Lions, the Jets.
Oh, the poor
We're just in that cluster of teams. I never thought I'd see in the Super Bowl. I thought I just would die before that happened.
I will say on the NFC side, I feel like the Lions fans can kind of pretend that this is their Super Bowl because they're going to live vicariously through Matt Stafford since he was, a Lion for 11, 12 years. And now his first season with the Rams, he's in the Super Bowl.
I can't imagine that makes you feel good though. That they can't. Your first season.
It just shows how bad your team is. Like,
see, that's what. Yeah, I think that's what hurts more. Is you had him for 11 years, and you couldn't even get a playoff win, and he immediately goes somewhere else, and he's in the Super Bowl, just proving he was a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, and just the Lions could do nothing with it. Like they had the hard part. The hard part is getting the Super Bowl caliber quarterback. And now we just found out that they had one the entire time.
Yeah. Quick Eagles news, because, always got to talk Eagles. I know that with the Super Bowl players not going to the Pro Bowl and then injuries or players opting out, I know that Jake Elliott, Javon Hargrave, and Josh Sweat all are now on the Pro Bowl team. So
really interesting. That was something I did not hear.
And I think, it depends on what happens. I would assume that Jalen Hurts would be on the Pro Bowl as well because somebody decided it was time to hang up his cleats. Mr. Tom Brady. Of course he did it, Super Bowl week it's not Super Bowl week, but everyone's talking Super Bowl. You had to have Brady's name mentioned, even though he's not going to be there. But crazy. After 22 seasons, Tom Brady, for 22 years, Tom Brady decided to retire. I have to think weird. It is weird. I have to think though, it's like my initial thought was that he had former quarterbacks who've long been retired, probably in his ear saying, look, I know you feel like you can play, but you're getting to the age where no matter how healthy you keep yourself or how good a shape you're in, if it just takes one bad injury and you're going to be dealing with that. I think Joe Montana still has knee pain or something. He struggles to walk. Secondly, then would be his family. I'm sure his wife and his kids are like, all right, you can, enough of that. You don't have to keep playing. And third, he has nothing left to prove. He won 6 rings, 6 out of 9 with the Patriots. Then, there was this whole, they don't really want him thing going on. And then he's like, all right, I'll go prove myself somewhere else. Won a Super Bowl in his first year with the Bucs and had another solid, broke a bunch of records this year. So it went out with a bang.
Arguably his best year statistically.
But that's my quick rant on Mr. Brady. I'll let you have the floor. I think you were probably a little more of a Brady fan than I was, but.
Listen, he's one of those guys like him, LeBron. They're great for so long. They're polarizing. Majority of it would say if you weren't a Patriots fan or a Bucs fan or a LeBron fan, you probably didn't like them just because they were so dominant for so long.
Yeah.
But I think you hit it on the head. I think ultimately Brady, we've always said was, what else does this guy have to do? What else does this guy want? What else is he playing for? The 7 rings, every record you could dream of. The constant success. I think he finally had enough. There's
no money. There's no real records anymore. He already has the most championships by far. He has more championships than some teams.
Well, that's he won the Super Bowl with the Bucs the first year. If maybe he didn't win with the Bucs, maybe he plays a couple more years because he still got it. But what else does this guy have to prove? The first year with a new team, he went and won. He could probably go to a new team, right now and leave the Bucs and probably take them to the Super Bowl. But we can honestly say, though, they always say time is undefeated. Now that Tom Brady's officially done, we can say time has lost that one. Tom Brady never slipped up. He was pretty much locked in, consistent, awesome every single year. Never slipped up. You could say he was at his best now. One of those very odd examples where he got better, I think, as the years went on. Not only did he not lose time, I think he just beat down time for 22 years straight. But I mean, hey, he's gone. It's gonna feel weird now that Tom Brady calls it quits. The Hall of Fame class for this year is going to be quite the list. I mean, you probably assume Gronk is going to probably hang him up too if Brady's not coming back. So you're looking at Big Ben, Brady, and Gronk as first ballot Hall of Famers there. It's a nice and impressive class, but it's going to feel weird. It is going to be weird to see the NFL without Tom Brady. I'm curious to see what he wants to do post-career. I mean, I have to assume that he would have an offer to do whatever it is that he could dream to do. I'm sure any, Drew Brees and Tony Romo got a butt ton of money to, call games and be an analyst. Peyton Manning's doing his thing with Eli. I'm sure that any TV station would give him an opportunity. But there's also the probability he probably just wants to chill. I would imagine he wants to kind of chill, take a back seat, spend time with the kids and all. But I got to say, I'm not as happy as I thought I would feel. Like, did you have the feeling, picturing in your mind he was eventually going to retire? I thought I would be ecstatic and just overjoyed that he's finally gone.
I know.
I don't have that joy as much as I thought I would have. And I don't know. It's a weird feeling. Maybe it's because he was eliminated this year before the Super Bowl. Maybe it's, my interest was off him the last couple of weeks. But I don't know. It doesn't feel as exciting. Maybe I feel like the NFL lost its guy that everyone roots against.
Yeah, I think that's very true. When he was with the Patriots, I felt like he was very much of this villain almost, where nobody everyone respected, but nobody wanted to play him. Nobody liked him because he just would win all the time. Yeah. And then when he left New England and went to Tampa, he just opened up a lot more. He got a lot more relaxed. He was, I don't know if this is the real Tom, and he was just kind of locked behind that Patriot way, Bill Belichick, Stone Cold stuff. But it was refreshing. It was a lot easier to appreciate him more. I feel like, because I no stranger if anyone's been listening to this podcast, I'm not the biggest fan of Tom Brady. It's just merely the fact that he didn't play for a team that I root for, and he was always winning Super Bowls. Why wouldn't I be jealous of? Yeah,
he's just one of those guys. He's LeBron's very similar. I feel like you don't root for him because you're so tired of seeing him succeed. The NFL, I would say, is the most parity in any sports league, except for Tom Brady. Tom Brady's been great for the last 22 years. Anyone, we got the Bengals in the Super Bowl this year. Anything can happen any year, except Tom Brady not being amazing for the last 22 years. It's gonna be weird not having that. You could pretty much pencil in whatever team he was playing in as a Super Bowl contender every single year.
Yeah, it's it'll be weird. We haven't seen a Tom Brady-less MVP or NFL season since the year 1999.
Yeah,
which is there was no. Let's see. He started his first year, I think, was 2000. There weren't even flip phones yet. It was just the brick phones, and you had to pull the antennas still, I think, and people were still using flash drives and floppy disks and VHS tapes.
Trip down memory lane there.
It's crazy. The
older space statesman for the quarterback position in the last couple of years has definitely dropped off. I have to think that the oldest quarterback you'd have right now, the elder statesman, is going to be Aaron Rodgers. Ben's gone. Breeze is obviously gone. Rivers is gone. Brady's gone. That whole era that I feel like we grew up with, that portion of our fanhood when we were growing up that developed us, is gone, and it's fully done now. That era is over.
Yeah, it's actually I caught a little bit of his post on Instagram. It was 10 picture slides of text, and I only just skimmed through it, but I saw the one where he mentioned kind of passing the torch to the younger athletes, and what you said is very true. You and I grew up watching as kids Brady versus Manning, and McNabb versus I don't know, Philip Rivers or whoever, or Tony Romo. And then like, all these quarterbacks are now retired and doing their own things, whether it's commentating or being an analyst or I know Tom's got like 3 of his own brands he's going to start pushing, like he has his own like
I'm sure he'll be very, very busy.
Well,
only an Eagles fan would put a McNabb versus other quarterback rivalry in the same sentence as Brady and Manning.
Oh, absolutely.
Only an Eagles fan would do that.
Absolutely.
But I mean, it is weird. Going off that like send off, like he was thanking like the ball boys of Tampa Bay, praising the strength coaches of the Buccaneers, the whole city of Tampa Bay, the mayor, the street cleaners, the people that polish his windows on his mega mansion, but didn't mention anyone from New England. Didn't mention Belichick, Kraft. I don't understand if he's got like another post or a video coming for that, but it seemed very odd to have this long message, praise everyone that had anything to do with the Tampa Bay organization or city, and then ignore the franchise that drafted you, developed you, made you the legend, and you spent 20 years at. I don't know if there's something else coming. I'm sure he's going to sign the one-day contract like everyone does and do it then, but it did seem a little odd.
My coworker pointed that out and I didn't even realize it. And but what I said to him was basically like, I would be like beyond shocked if he wasn't saving it for like a bigger thing. Like I can't like he played there his entire career. Like 2 years in Tampa is nothing compared to what he did in New England. Like there's no way he's just gonna, unless it got that sour that he's still bitter about something. But I can't imagine even that. Like that was your life. Like he lived there for
I mean, he also he won the Super Bowl away from them and he beat them in his matchup. I think he's fulfilled. Going back to what he said, like I just think he got to a point where what else does he have to do? He's probably fulfilled. He beat Bill Belichick this year. He has the Super Bowl away from New England. He's got 6 others there. Like he is easily the greatest player to ever play the game. No one even questions it. Like I think at some point you just get like, what else more do you want? There's not really, really, even for someone as competitive as him, there's nothing else you could possibly play for.
I think he wanted to thank Tampa because that is his current team, technically. And then he's going to let this simmer. And then my guess is that he's probably not 100% concrete on the retirement. There's still a chance he could come out like, Brett Favre-esque. And then once he's fully decided that it's over, then he'll retire as a Patriot, sign that one-day contract, and then have his whole monologue of, what it was like to be a Patriot. Honestly, and all that.
Someone like Tom Brady, I wouldn't be surprised and I wouldn't put it past him if he retires now and 2 years from now or 3 years from now, he's like, you know what? I want to play football again, and just brings whatever team he picks to the playoffs. I feel like he would keep himself in great shape. He could just come off. I mean, what's 3 years from now? He looks incredible. And I think we'll see. Maybe he hates the first year of retirement. He doesn't seem like a guy that's going to enjoy retirement. He seems like he's pretty much off football all the time. I wouldn't put it past him. If he's like 2 years from now, he's like, you know what? I want to play football again. I'm going to go whatever team I feel like playing for. I'm just going to bring them to the playoffs just for fun. I'm bored.
I mean, that's what Eric Weddle literally just came out of retirement to play safety for the Rams, right? And now he's in the Super Bowl.
Hey, I mean, listen, I think it'd be more difficult to be, after 2 years off, come play safety for a team in the playoffs than it would for Tom Brady to come off the retirement wagon 2 years later and then come in and take a team to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Before we get back to the gridiron, I wanted to go over a couple more things off the field. So obviously we had some coach hires. What were your thoughts here? I think there was a couple that I don't think there was any real surprise ones like we've seen before, like the Joe Judges or the David Colleys, where they came out of literally no one, but there's still some jobs opening. But we had Brian Dable go to the Giants, which I think makes a ton of sense. I think
I hated it because of how smart it was.
Yeah, I think in the most perfect world, Daniel Jones is in that Josh Allen model. He's a athletic guy that can run, who's also big and has a big arm. He's nowhere near the player he is, but maybe in Giants fairy tale land, I think they can bring over the guy that made Josh Allen and give him a quarterback with similar build and similar skill set and just not nearly as good. Maybe you get something out of him. Plus, we had Hackett to the Broncos, which I honestly got to say, if you don't get Rodgers, I'm not really excited about that hire for them. Was never really too thrilled about Hackett. I don't think the offense for the Packers was anything special outside of you just had Aaron Rodgers and like Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
But And then who was it? Eberflus, the D coordinator from the Colts, kind of on a meteoric rise. I feel like he just came on the radar. Like some people heard whispers about him last year, and then the Colts defense was really good this year, and now he's got a head coaching job. So we'll see what happens with that. So. Now, yeah, I mean the Colts defense was pretty solid this year. They had a ton of turnovers, but I feel like outside of that, he's not been coaching very long at all. I think that was. Am I missing? I feel like there was one more. I'm forgetting.
Did you say the Raiders?
Oh yeah, the Raiders. That one. Well, I wanted to.
That's my most surprising one.
I wanted to let that sit for a week, see if McDaniels changed his mind. You know, with McDaniels, you got to give him a couple days before whether decides whether I'm actually.
What was the team that he backed out of? Was that the Colts? Like 2 years ago?
Stole Frank Reich from the Eagles.
Yeah, dirty bastard.
That's how we ended up with what was his Mike Rowe. That's what everything. You know, I blame Josh McDaniels for the crumbling of the Eagles coaching staff and post Super Bowl team. It just all fell apart because of Josh McDaniels.
It's always. But yeah, that assuming he stays, that is my biggest surprise because, here's for one, I think it's a little. I can see that they were going in a different direction, so I don't think that what's his name, Bisaccia was ever really like a candidate for the coaching spot because they were changing philosophies.
Yeah,
and it looked like they were. It looked like they wanted a GM coach tandem, so they brought the GM over and McDaniels as well. So we'll see how that works. I mean, I never really thought about it this way, but I was hearing people say that McDaniels, while he wasn't like obviously good in his, I think he was in Denver for 2 years,
something like that.
People were saying that, like, everyone looks at it as like he did a terrible job, but the fact of the matter is what happened was that he took a gamble and he gambled on Tim Tebow and the gamble failed. So we don't know if he, like, now that he has an actual quarterback and a decent roster, like what he can do with that. But I was definitely shocked that he left the Patriots. I thought that they were basically like, dusting off the throne for him for whenever Belichick decided he was going to retire. Which I mean, should be realistically in 5 years or so. Like he's 77 or something like that.
360. I think that's why he pulled the 360 with the Colts job, is he thought he would take over Belichick. I mean, for him too, you got to be like, I mean, Belichick clearly hasn't gone anywhere. That was 2018, so that was 4 years ago. He was offered the Colts job, and Belichick still has really no sight of, doesn't look like he's going anywhere anytime. He just got Mac Jones. I don't think he has any interest in stop coaching. But I mean, I think it makes sense. McDaniels, it doesn't make sense for McDaniels to go to a team that's like rebuilding or like just really crappy, like the Giants or like the Texans jobs. But I mean, the Raiders are a playoff team. They have Carr. I think Carr is probably the selling point for him. Let him be with a veteran quarterback that knows how to win games. I'm assuming the Raiders probably keep Carr then. I think McDaniels pretty much just shores that up. I can't imagine they're gonna let him walk and McDaniels take over this team that's gonna be clear rebuild mode. But I mean, it's more in line with what they were probably thinking of doing with Gruden, bringing in a head coach that's been in the league for a while, seen a lot of success, someone that could have say in personnel, and someone that would be, great for the offense. He seems very much in the mold of what Gruden was going to bring to the Raiders.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do we saw? We saw the Jaguars. Is that it? And Minnesota, did they hire somebody?
Jaguars, Minnesota, Texans.
The Texans.
And
take Gannon. He's waiting for you.
I don't even know how he's been in talks. I don't know.
2 interviews with the Texans.
I just don't get it. Like, his defenses don't excite me. Everyone likes to pull out the stats. Oh, the Eagles never gave up big plays. They're great, defense because they never gave up big plays. But, like, you don't really need big plays when you can just drive up and down the field and have an 80% completion percentage and get, 8 yards on every play. But, neither here nor there. But let's talk about on the field, since obviously we just had championship weekend, which is very big. And then we're moving on to the Super Bowl featuring the LA Rams and Bengals. Can I say, what is this, Super Bowl 56? 56 sound about right?
Yeah.
Maybe? 55? So we went 54 years with no team hosting a Super Bowl. Now we've done it back-to-back years. It just seems like,
hey,
how did that happen?
Everybody, you should put your money on the Cardinals to win the Super Bowl next year because the Super Bowl's in Arizona. So
honestly, I think that's worth a preseason bet. I'm definitely. It's not like, I mean, like, it's not like the Cardinals aren't a ridiculous team that like you could see in the Super Bowl next year. Like, they're a fairly competitive team. They were playoff this year. It makes all the sense in the world. This is clearly the trend.
I'm definitely going to put at least $5 down on that.
There you go, big bang. But all right, we'll start with the team hosting. What did you think about that Rams-Niners game? Close one. Niners definitely held their own. I think Jimmy G probably says goodbye to his San Francisco career. I think
you would hope.
Yeah, I think that this is the end for him. Kyle Shanahan again blows a crucial, championship game with a big lead. It's just painful to see for him now. He's just between the Falcons loss, the Chiefs loss, and now this. It's just this guy doesn't know how to close out a game. It's something about him. I mean, I don't know.
That's true. I forgot that they had like what was their lead in the Super Bowl?
10 points. There was 20 to 10 in the fourth quarter.
I
think he's the first quarterback, or he's the first coach to be involved in 3 different championship games, a Super Bowl or conference championship, to lose when his team was up by 10 in the fourth quarter or so. Which is just, it's just pretty bad. I think he put too much faith into Jimmy G. I mean, they got away from Deebo Samuel in the fourth quarter, which didn't really make sense at all. He's pretty much your entire offense.
Yeah.
You also, went scoreless in the fourth quarter and allowed, the Rams scored 13 points. The defense kind of let them out to dry. Very disappointing, but I still think the Rams were the better team going into it. 49ers held in there. Defense played well, but ultimately the better team came out top.
Yeah, I feel pretty much the same way. I think the Rams, something was off. They just weren't playing like Ram football, it seemed like. I actually there was no point where I was like, the 49ers are definitely winning. Like, I always thought that there was some, gimme in there where they were going to come back, and then like the 49ers kept building that lead, and then they were up by what, like 10, I think, or 14 or something, and then Stafford did some. Now the Niners really shot, like, not to, it's not all Shanahan's fault. The defense really shot themselves in the foot by not intercepting that gimme ball, the one where Stafford just chucked it 70 yards and right into the safety's lap or cornerback, I forget who it was, and he just flat out dropped it. I think it was I know people are like, oh my God, how could you drop that? But I mean, I saw the replay so many times, and he's backpedaling at, ridiculous speeds anyways to try and catch up. So it's hard to make that adjustment, but it was in a basket, like,
he literally threw it right to him. There's moments like I should make a montage this season of just plays that I confidently think I could have made. Like, and that is one of them. There's not many plays I can make down the field. I think I could have caught that. I think that it was right there, easy catch like that. Anyone should make that catch in that moment too. Oh, that's just killer. That's just brutal. Yeah. But going back to Kyle Shanahan, I mean, you look at their all in the fourth quarter for them. They had 3 drives in the fourth quarter. They had Deebo Samuel touch the ball once in those last 3 drives in the fourth quarter. That's like, he's clearly your best player on the entire offense. Just run the ball with them. They've shown many ways that they're creative. Just get on the ball. Like, even if Jimmy's struggling and you can't get him open or whatever, just hand it off to him. Do a reverse. Do whatever. Just get the ball in the guy's hands. He was their whole entire offense all year and that game. I don't know. I think they put too much faith in Jimmy there, and he let him down in the beginning. Obviously, the interception, I think, is what cost them the entire game. Needless to say, but
also Jimmy G just like chucked the ball in the air on 3rd down. Like, did he forget he had another down to try and do something?
Yeah, Jimmy G is a weird quarterback, man. Like, you look at his
he's a game manager.
Winning percentage. But he wins a lot. And then you put him in these moments, and you're like, you think he would be exposed more because of how many big games he's really been in. He's been in the conference championship game at least twice, the Super Bowl, maybe 3 times if I remember correctly. The conference championship game, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. It just seems like he cruises along, does his thing, and then falls it apart just at the very end. Yeah. It's like very tough.
But I will say I'm at a weird spot where, like, I don't really want the Rams to win because they're kind of like this snobby buy their way to a championship team. Yeah. But
no one in America wants the Rams to win.
But I would be fine with it just because I've always been a fan of Matt Stafford. You know, when he was him and Calvin Johnson doing everything for the Lions and still couldn't find success. And then same with, I'm a big fan of Jalen Ramsey, so I'd be happy to see those guys win. But
no. Listen, me, you, and America wants the Cincinnati Bengals to win. I've got to say, I think this is the most
OBJ likable in the Super Bowl. That's crazy too.
Yeah, I think this is the most likable. Honestly, I think this is going to be the most one-sided, like, rooting, fan interest Super Bowl since the Eagles and Patriots. Let's be honest. Philly's got a bad rep. No one really likes Philly, but backup quarterback against the big bad Tom Brady Patriots. The year after they had the comeback against the Falcons.
Oh yeah.
There's no way anyone was rooting for anyone but the Eagles. I think this is the same kind of feel. No one's rooting for LA. LA doesn't have any fans.
Yeah, but that's why I think it's more like people are just like, oh, this will be a good Super Bowl because we're not really rooting against anyone. You know,
I'm definitely rooting against the Rams. Are you kidding me? How the Bengals are like one of those teams, like I said, that I thought I would die before I see them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Joe Burrow is the coolest player, arguably in the league besides Gardner Minshew.
Ice cold.
What he's doing is just incredible. I've got to say, we can go right into the choking up.
Choke now. Don't be the Chiefs.
No.
So speaking of that game, yeah. Speaking of choking, Mahomes.
Yeah.
Oof.
That was tough.
Not a good game for him.
No, you know what? The Chiefs, I think they get too cute. I think they get
do.
Too cute.
I don't know how you go up 21-3 and then you have 5 seconds to run a play when you're 5 yards from the end zone and you decide you're going to throw it horizontally with no timeouts.
See, this is like what I mean. I was like, too cute with it.
What? Just either kick the field goal or you do a quick in the end zone play. There is no cutesy screens, any of that. You got to. It's very obvious what you have to do, and that
of course,
I just didn't understand it at all.
I think in that moment too, the momentum is flipping. You're up 21-10, but the momentum has changed because Samaje Perine just had that nice touchdown run with a minute left in the half. You got the ball back. I think you just put up points there. You end their momentum because you're up by, what would that have been, 24-10? You're up by 2 scores going in a half.
Yeah.
You've pretty much dominated them all first half. Now, not only did they score that touchdown to make it 21-10 with a minute left for half, now they have this huge stop and all the momentum in the world. And they're, 2 touchdowns away from the lead. I thought they got too cute. And there was a couple moments even at the end. Like the Bengals defense in the second half was just amazing. Your boy Jesse Bates, I got to say, showed up and was balling.
Yes.
And I think America's most hated cornerback, Eli Apple, even showed up a little bit there too.
He's something.
Yeah, but I mean, there was also a point where like Mahomes had days behind the line. He had days. It was just amazing how well the Bengals were in coverage that Mahomes had all the time in the world, was scrambling and just looked like he was looking for the big play on every play. And then, eventually the D-line would get him. Towards the end there, they had, I think there was 2 drives in the fourth quarter back-to-back where they had negative yards for both drives.
Yeah.
And it's just like Mahomes is supposed to be a smart quarterback, doesn't make mistakes. He just makes, like, this is the thing between him and Brady is, like, Brady made a career out of just always hitting the check down, always getting the ball out of his hands. And it seemed like the Chiefs were just getting cute and just wanted the big play every play and did not work out.
Yeah, I just saw a thing too, and I didn't realize this, but AJ Green was in Cincinnati for 10 years, dealt with all that bullshit of losing, finally got a chance to go play on the team that's Super Bowl contenders, and then the team he was with for 10 years goes to the Super Bowl instead. Like that's gotta be wild for him. I'm sure he's happy for them, but like at the same time, he's probably pissed. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I would probably agree with you there. Now there's who was it there? Another one, a similar situation, but different in the same way. You tell me what would be more painful. Logan Mankins, he played 2005 to 2013 with the Patriots. So nearly a decade with the Patriots. Didn't win a single Super Bowl. They managed to win 3 Super Bowls right before he got there, and then they won 3 Super Bowls like pretty much immediately after he left.
Damn.
Is it more painful to be part of a really good team that you don't win anything with and you've been there for a decade, or a terrible team you were there with for a decade and then they managed to win without you? Like, which more painful, the AJ Green situation or
more painful?
Logan Mankins?
Oh, definitely AJ Green.
You think? Because Logan Mankins, you're there for a decade. This team's been just coming off a dynasty. You lose 2 Super Bowls. Now AJ Green doesn't have any pain of losing any. Mankins lost 2.
Yeah, but it's the pain of like the Bengals were bad on top of that, whereas like Patriots were good. He just didn't win when they were, good enough to win the big game. Whereas like AJ Green just suffered the whole time. Mankins didn't suffer. His team was still good. He was enjoying himself, I'm sure, with winning games. Whereas AJ Green was literally basically the Deebo Samuel of the Bengals for 10 years.
Fair enough. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know what happens with the Bengals now, but it's got to sting a little bit to see a dynasty right before you get there, and then a dynasty immediately after you leave.
I suppose, but I think props to the Bengals. I did not once the Chiefs got out to that lead, I was worried a blowout was going to happen, and then
me too.
I mean, Chiefs kind of gave. I can't remember if it was the fourth quarter or if it was an overtime, but somebody pointed out that it only took Pat Mahomes 13 seconds to win against the Bills, and it only took him 13 seconds to lose against the Bengals, because I think it was an overtime. He threw that interception.
14 seconds.
Yeah. I was like, damn. But,
I mean, if you really like the defensive performance that the Bengals put out in the second half is disgusting. Yeah. You got to think, like, they give 21 points in the first half. Look at these next couple drives. Immediately coming out of half, 16-yard drive, punt, 17-yard drive, punt. Mm-hmm. Then they have a 7-yard drive ended with an interception. -2 yards, then punt. -4 yards, then punt. Then they have the 49-yard drive for the field goal at the end of the game to tie it. You go in overtime, 3 plays, 0 yards, interception. They put up 3 points. They went backwards, or they had 0 yards or went backwards on 3 different drives in fourth quarter and overtime. Just incredible performance. I think that also is a point of the Chiefs were just getting too cute with it. If they had taken the checkdowns, it would have been different. They just seemed like they were getting gambling and just wanted it all every play, and it came and blew up in their face. But really an impressive performance. I like this Bengals team. I know you're trying to act like this is a fair fight, and from fan wise, let's be honest, everyone wants Cincinnati to win. This is the easiest one-way fan base matchup since the underdogs of the Eagles. Mm-hmm. Who doesn't want the Cincinnati Bengals to win? Everyone loves Joe Burrow, and the Bengals are just one of those bad franchises.
Yeah, I guess so. Now, how did you have the Bengals finishing the beginning of the year? How did you think they were going to do?
Maybe not my best. I think they had 4 wins for them, so they kind of definitely turned it around.
4 wins.
I will say that one of my concerns was the offensive line, which they looked terrible. I mean, they looked really bad. It's kind of amazing because they did this against the Titans too. I think Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times. Somehow they're like winning games and going to the Super Bowl, and they have a terrible offensive line.
Is it worse than the one that Mahomes dragged to the Super Bowl last year? Because he was running for his life in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I think he was dealing with injuries. The Bengals' offensive line just isn't good. I forget when Fisher and Schwartz got hurt last year, but maybe not. Maybe the Chiefs was worse, obviously, because they had the backups in there, and I think Mike Fromers was there for like 2 weeks, and he was starting left tackle in the Super Bowl. But still, I mean, Joe Burrow gets heat a lot. Yeah. I think him and Aaron Donald are going to do a lot of bonding in the Super Bowl. But you also got to say, is the dude, like, that's the thing. I think the most impressive part about Joe Burrow is the guy gets beaten. Like, he gets hit a lot, and he just keeps slinging, never loses his composure. Like, it's something to say is when he gets that much pressure, he just never loses his composure. I mean, other quarterbacks like Brady and like, Manning, even Breeze, like, they always had great composure and were calm in pocket, but like they would get the ball out and were never hit. They always had really solid offensive lines. Burrow's getting destroyed and still remains calm and composed back there.
Yeah, I mean, and even Joe Mixon somehow was the 3rd rusher in the league behind that line. So,
yeah, I'll give it. Listen, the Bengals, I think that their defense is solid. I like their defensive line a lot. Hendrickson's good. Hubbard's good. Reader's pretty solid.
Yeah.
And then you throw in that they just have a ton of skill players. This is kind of the debate between Penei Sewell and Jamar Chase. I mean, Jamar Chase is awesome, but they still have the problem that offensive line stinks, but I don't think it matters. But you have Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins had a big game. Jamar Chase, Mixon, even Samaje Perine, your backup running back, is out there getting that huge touchdown that changed the momentum. You just to have a cool quarterback that can just take the heat and stay composed. It gets the ball to his skill players and they make plays and things are working. You don't need an offensive line when you run it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll do a an in-depth Super Bowl preview when next week or something. But who's your so Rams Bengals? Still feels weird to say.
It does.
Joe Burrow versus Matt Stafford. Who are you picking?
Very weird. I mean, matchup wise, I'm not gonna lie, I don't love the matchup for the Bengals. Like I said, I think Aaron Donald and Von Miller are gonna have a field day against this offensive line. I like Jamar Chase a lot, but I think the rookie sensation against Jalen Ramsey might be a tough call. But listen, there's something about momentum. We see it almost every year in the Super Bowls. You get a team that is unexpected. You get the momentum. The team that's hot, they usually have a cool little chant to go along with them. I already referenced the Eagles before when we had that whole underdog thing going. The Bengals, I feel like, have it too. I know the Rams are at home, but listen, the Niners sold out that stadium. I think Cincinnati's got a hell of a fan base. I'm sure they're going to be out there heavy. The Rams, there is no Rams fans. There's just some celebrities that show up so they can be on camera. That's about the only Rams fans they have. They don't actually exist. But I'm taking Cincinnati, man. I'm football wise, the matchup scares me. I don't think they're a great matchup between the Rams and the Bengals, but there's something about having the mojo and everyone rooting for you and having, Mr. Cool Joe Burrow. The guy's awesome. I'm going to take the Bengals. I'm feeling the good vibes.
Yeah, no, I'm taking the Rams. I just don't see.
Boo.
Yeah. Boo. I could see, a late Matt Stafford interception that would turn the game around, but I think kind of what you were saying, like, I think if the Rams take advantage of their matchups, they should be able to build a pretty substantial lead by halftime, I would think. The Bengals had to come back from
you see that defense? You see that Bengals defense that showed up in the second half? They stopped the Chiefs.
I'm expecting you think Eli Apple is going to shut down Cooper Kupp?
I mean, listen, he held his own against Tyreek Hill for a half. He was getting torched the first half, but he held his own in the second half.
Probably had safety help over the top or something.
Whatever they did in the second half worked. I mean, they got torched the first half, but whatever they did in the second half, if that defense shows up, they're going to be a problem.
And I think that the Rams will build enough of a lead that D-line will just be causing havoc on Joe Burrow, and he'll be playing catch up. They'll end up getting away from the run and just be slinging it 50 times. And I think it'll be a fun game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think the Rams win by 6, maybe, 2 field goals or something like that. But
very odd score to pick to win by.
Yeah, I don't know. So
I actually didn't even check the line. Who is the favorite? What is Vegas saying? I would assume it'd be the Rams.
Imagine the Rams.
Yeah, but I didn't see who was actually favored so far.
I don't know, but I bet the line of the Rams game last week, and what was it? Plus, it was -3.5, and they won by a field goal. So I lost my bet.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I took the Rams money line to cover for me. Although I took the over in the Bengals Kansas City game, and I was pretty much counting my money when it was, whatever. I think they had 34 points combined in the first half. I forget.
You can still now. Do you bet through England, or do you?
William Hill, baby. William Hill.
I don't know what that is.
It's the biggest sports book in the world. British owned.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, but no, I mean, listen, I'm excited for the matchup. I think it's be good. The Bengals are the team to root for. I don't know what you're thinking. The Rams, no one's rooting for the Rams. Let's be honest. No one cares. No one wants the Rams to win. Not a single person.
I think Stafford deserves a Super Bowl. I don't want the Rams.
I think Joe Burrow deserves a Super Bowl. The dude's too cool.
Now, if Stafford could win the Super Bowl and the Rams could lose, I mean, I would love that. But obviously, that's not going to happen because that's not possible. So
that'd be kind of difficult. Yeah,
it would be difficult.
Really difficult.
If he just runs away with the trophy.
The Rams are taking that Yankees approach. They just enjoy the benefits of the fact that they're in LA. Who wouldn't want to sign there? They got a brand new stadium. Like they'll be fine every single year because they can just bring in whatever free agents they want. No, everyone's going to want to play there. The Bengals, like, let's be honest. I don't think the Bengals are going to be here. This is going to be a tough spot. The AFC is loaded. Like you look at the talent that's out there. You got Mahomes, you got Lamar, you got Josh Allen, you got Herbert, Burrow. Obviously, Mac Jones is developing. There's a lot of talent in that conference right now.
And this is a good example. The Bengals are a good example of how the league has kind of changed, because I feel like coaches used to get more time with these teams, and now they're on a much shorter leash. You know, if they don't see positive change in 2-3 years, they get canned. And just look at what Zach Taylor did. I mean, the Bengals were picking number 1 2 years ago because they had the worst record in the league, and they took Joe Burrow. Then, as they're building this roster, now they've gotten it to the point where they're strong enough to compete in the Super Bowl. So it's going to set a lot of expectations for incoming coaches, but you know, they earned it. They played well. And what did you didn't mention how did I do in our season predictions? What did I have the Bengals going?
No. High and mighty over here. What are you, like 13 wins? I think I had them at, or 11.
11-6, right?
11-6 sounds about right.
Wow. Oh, so I was high on the Bengals. That's cool.
What's your moment? How many games did I beat you on those season picks by?
I gave up like week 14 because I had to catch up. So I was just picking ridiculous wins anyways.
Is this okay? So you're trying to justify me kicking your ass because you gave up my week 14 because you were getting your ass kicked so much?
Yeah, I think I did a little better in the playoff bracket. Oh, well, I don't know. Again, went 6-0 wildcard weekend, and then shit hit the fan, went 0-4, and then obviously this week's kind of in shambles. But you got Bengals, I got Rams, and I will say before we end on Mr. Tom Brady, just want to lay out some of his career stats that are very mind-boggling. So he has most Super Bowl titles or most Super Bowl wins by one individual player, 7. Most games won by a player, 278. Most games played by a quarterback, 365. He has exactly 0 losing seasons as a starting quarterback. It's mind-blowing.
Like I said, he beat Tyler time. Never was bad. Never dipped. Awesome every single year.
NFL record for passing attempts at 13,172. NFL record for passing completions, 8,428. 710 total touchdowns. I don't think that's the right number, but this set I'm looking at says 97,000 passing yards, which is like some weird. Oh, I think that's playoffs combined, but he's still all time. He has 84,000 regular season passing yards. 710 combined touchdown passes. I think I just said that.
Real.
67 game-winning drives, 51 fourth quarter comebacks. Most wins on the road. Like, he has every record. Most wins on the road, most wins at home. Only quarterback to have 3 consecutive games with 300 or more passing yards, 3 or more touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Most starts by a quarterback, most games by a quarterback. Oldest quarterback to win game, like it goes on. Oldest to win MVP at 40. It's
pretty insane.
It's endless.
Put it that way.
35.
So how many passing touchdowns did he have again?
Passing touchdowns. All right. So career, the one I was reading off before was like combined with the playoffs, but career of regular season touchdowns 624, which is the record for passing touchdowns.
Okay. That's like I think
crazy.
Yeah, no, it's just insane. He just has every record you could dream of, really.
101 games with 3 touchdown passes.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy to think, like, Ken Griffey Jr., someone who's a legend in baseball, played 22 seasons, has 630 home runs. Tom Brady has about 630 or whatever you just said touchdowns.
624, yeah.
Pretty amazing that they both did in 22 season career. One plays 162 games every single year. The other does 16.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't even know I think a home run is almost just as hard to get as a passing touchdown.
No, I would say it's easier to throw a pass touchdown than get a home run. You only have how many chances? You only have essentially three to five chances to hit a home run, depending on how many times you're at the plate versus like how many drives you get in the NFL.
Fair enough. Still, the game difference 162 to 16. You really like 10 times the amount of games.
No, it's still both. I mean, Ken Griffey's probably one of my favorite MLB players. I have his Mariners jersey, but yeah. So crazy that I was raving about Tom Brady because I was definitely a hater for a while, but at the end of the day, I respect him. He is without question the greatest quarterback to ever play in the NFL. I would probably say he's the greatest player to ever play in the NFL. Now, would I say he's the greatest professional athlete across any sport? He's up there. I don't know if I would say yes. I'd have to see who's in that,
I mean, he's definitely
in the conversation.
Strong contender. Yeah. I think you're gonna appreciate it more how great he is because I feel like everyone's been on this Mahomes train for since he had that amazing season. But if you look at the first 4 years, he's got one Super Bowl. He's been to 4 AFC Championship games, but he's lost 2 of them. He's lost a Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl. You factor in Brady pretty much went to 18 AFC Championship games or whatever in a row, and won probably 10 of those. And but shows I think really how great Tom Brady is, and you can't just assume there's going to be another quarterback that's going to be able to just walk in and be as dominant as he is.
No, and I was just gonna say I think 20 years from now, or even 10 years from now, maybe when people look back and they're like, "Holy shit, Tom Brady won 7 Super Bowls." I know some people try to say "Oh, well, MJ won 6," but MJ had the greatest NBA team every time he went, whereas Tom Brady did not have the greatest team when he took his Patriot. His early Super Bowls, he had scrubs at wide receiver, rotations. Yeah. I mean, he had Corey Dillon for a while at running back, but then after that, it was a bunch of scat backs just rotating them in. And
I think it's even more impressive is football's more of a team game, and how dominant an individual could be in a team game.
You rarely
he just made everyone better.
Yeah, you rarely see teams back to back going to Super Bowl consecutive times. It's a feat that I think will be. I don't think everyone. Nobody's going to touch it. Not even Mahomes.
No. Belichick defenses were basically built around the secondary first and turnover machines. Well, it helps when you be extra aggressive when you have a guy who's just going to score points every single game. I mean, you got a quarterback that put out a whole bunch of scrubs out there. He's going to just continue to score at least 30 points a game. But it's really amazing. I mean, we'll see. Speaking of the legend, him and Joe Burrow joins Tom Brady as the only quarterback to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Oh. So that's a nice little Joe Burrow nugget. So I think he's destined to be a Super Bowl champion.
A little trivia for you. Tom Brady also holds the record for most passing yards in a Super Bowl with 505. Do you know what team that was against?
Oh, it's my favorite Super Bowl ever.
And a losing effort against the Philadelphia Eagles. Always got. That
just wraps it up how great he is. Even in losing the Super Bowls, he sets records. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, this has been good. We got 2 more weeks till Super Bowl. 1 week to catch our breath. I think the Pro Bowl's this week or whatever they do for the Pro Bowl nowadays.
I don't even watch it. I used to watch when I was a kid. I used to watch it. Because I was like, oh my god, my favorite players are in there. And now it's the players don't even want to be there. So
the only ones that would be there is for if they have a contract extensive.
Yeah. Well,
but
congrats to
who day.
Congrats to the Bengals. Congrats to the Rams, and congrats to Tom Brady on a phenomenal career that, like I said, looking back at 7 Super Bowls is wild. I think I'm even more fascinated by the fact that as great as he was, the only 2 people to ever beat him in the Super Bowl was Eli Manning twice and a backup quarterback named Nick Foles. But
incredible.
We'll end it on that.
Alrighty. I'll talk to you.
Alrighty. Peace out.